What's up, hobby friends? And welcome back to another Paint Bravely podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Why I cannot believe that I remembered how to do that. So it turns out that Brent and I are actually here in person together, and we're not looking at monitors or screens or anything. We're just here next to each other. So, it's a little bit different. But hey, Brent, what's going on?
I am so scared. This is so strange. So I am standing in your studio, the eBay Miniature Rescue studio here. Mm-hmm. It is crazy to see it in person. I've been here for a few days now, so we're on a bit of a trip together, and we're just on one phase of the trip right now where we get to record the first ever Paint Bravely in person.
Well, that is actually not true, Brent.
We get to record the first ever Paint Bravely in person that will probably be aired in its entirety.
Yes. Unfortunately, we tried to do this once before, and
somebody
had
a little technical difficulty with the audio, but this time I feel good about this time.
We've done all the things to make sure that this can sound the best it can and look the best it can on the actual YouTube channel as well. So, that's the best we can do. That's all I got.
Okay. So let's talk about our adventure, our travels here.
So you took an airplane from Maine to Reno, Nevada. How long did that take?
Oh, all day. And that was the jump ahead or fall back.
Yeah, that was the same day as the daylight savings time.
Just add an extra hour onto the.
It is. Yeah, exactly. Like your 16-hour flight was actually 17 hours. Sorry,
something like that. I don't know how it works, but anyway, got to Reno, Nevada, and the reason I'm here, in addition to seeing my pal Casey, is the GAMA trade show.
Yes.
Game Manufacturers
Association
Industry get together.
Expo. Yes, it's an industry like tabletop games and other types of board games, whatever kind of games like that. Products, stores, people, distributors, all sorts of stuff. Everybody gets together. There are conferences. People do educational panels. There's a lot of networking going on, obviously, and then a lot of the bigger companies, including like people like Games Workshop and the Army Painter and other companies, do a lot of like presentations. Like you might remember that Games Workshop does big announcements at GAMA. They have for the last few years, and it's kind of been a thing.
I don't think they did. Did they
not this year, ironically. Okay. Yeah, ironically,
right.
They did not do.
That's all right. That's all right. So, it's a conference convention that has the traditional hotel attached to a convention hall kind of setup here in Reno, and so there were seminars, and then there was a big old what you would ordinarily call a vendor hall,
right?
Except they weren't selling, boxes of games, or they weren't selling singular games.
Technically, yeah, right.
They were selling like racks of games to put in game stores.
Yeah. Like if you were a retailer and you were here for the conference, you'd go look at all of these different types of products, basically from all these companies, and then you go, okay, like this game looks really hot this year, right? Like I'm gonna order X amount, or talk to the people and figure out whatever you're gonna figure out to have that game in your store. So that's definitely a big part of it, which really was pretty cool to see.
Yes.
Because I always just figured, it's like whatever, you order the hot stuff, whatever's coming out, right? It's like that looks cool, I'm gonna order it. I mean, I'm sure that's the way a lot of people do it, but this seems like a way more fun way to do it, honestly. Like show up somewhere and kind of like hang out with these people. Like we got to just talk and hang out with like people who own these companies, right? Like that's way cooler than just like I'm just gonna order, whatever. What's that boat game? I forget.
What game?
The boat game.
Oh, you're talking about Black Seas from Warlord Games?
That's it. Yeah, from Warlord Games. Like, yeah, it's like that's cool. Seeing it in a picture, right? But to like talk to the people who are like somewhat responsible for that, right? It's like, oh, that's just way cooler because they're way into it,
right?
And they're like, no, you want these boats,
yeah, right. So, my friendly local game store owner, Brendan, who owns Crossroad Games in Standish, Maine, he goes to this convention every year, except for the past 2 years because of COVID.
Sure.
And he always talks about it. And so this year I said, can I come along and like split a hotel room with you? And so, yeah, me and my convention buddy, Brendan, came to Reno, Nevada. And so it was fascinating to kind of follow around a game store owner at this convention and see what he was interested in and kind of see what the convention was all about from his point of view. So, I mean, think of your local game store and think of like how crowded the shelves are probably with games and how they're always trying to like turn things over to make room for whatever the new hotness is. Mm-hmm. And then consider that like one company, Funko, is putting out 130 games, 130 games this year.
Man, that's so many games. See, how can those... okay. Like, I don't really have anything against Funko at all. Like, I like Funko Pops, right? And I've seen some of their games and they look entertaining, but like, how can there be quality in that, right? Like, the quality versus quantity. Like, you're putting out 150 games?
Right.
Come on. Where does that fit in your plan?
I have no idea. It makes
no sense to me. I don't know.
So I mean, a lot of these game companies, even the smaller ones, were putting out, maybe 10 games or expansions or some sort of, boxed product during a given year. And even then, the local store owner has to figure out which of these they're actually going to carry.
Right.
And what they're getting out of their store to make room for it. So,
yeah, actually, something I thought was pretty fascinating as well was that a lot of them, like, they prioritized games that were not coming to Amazon. Like the niche games, the weird stuff that maybe isn't going to be mass produced or out there everywhere. It's like, you get this really cool game that you have to come into my store to buy. That's really cool. So, like, if you go to game stores around the country, like, there's a very good chance you're going to find something that just isn't at another game store. And that makes game stores way more exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, game stores carry Catan, they carry Ticket to Ride. But beyond that, a lot of what they carry is not available at Target.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and even some of the companies that do have things in Target were like, well, here we're gonna do this thing for you. We're gonna put out these things that are, they're not gonna be in Target for like a year, right, or 6 months or something, or whatever the case was. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, even large companies were still taking that into account, which was interesting, I guess. It just didn't feel normal. It didn't feel like a normal type of thing. Like, people were way more cool than I thought.
That was just really cool to see this side of it. And just like the questions that store owners were asking, one, make total sense, but two, was not expecting. So for most of these like game presentations, when it was question and answer time, someone would raise their hand and say, what does the side of the box look like?
Yeah.
So game store owners, trying to pack their shelves, some boxes can be facing out, and so you get that front cover art of the game box, but most of them are sideways on. And so if the side of the box isn't almost as good as the front of the box, no one's going to pick it up. No one's going to buy it. And they were asking about, what does the side of the box look like? Does the box even like stand up on its own? Because that's a deal breaker if there's like a little bit of a bow in the bottom edge of the box.
Well, and you never know. Some boxes are like weird shapes and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, you get weirdness with that type of stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. All of my game stores, local game stores, have, I think, front facing. So
all of them?
Yeah, all of them.
Oh.
Yeah. They have like one in particular that has like big see-through bookshelves, right? I mean, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. Like, they're big stands. They're like display shelves, I guess, but they're tall. So there's a bunch of games. It's like front facing on each side, so you can walk around it, which is pretty cool. That makes sense. Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like it does.
It makes sense.
Tell us in the comments below if this makes any sense.
What? I'm just going to ask it now because I wanted to ask this question. Now that we've been talking about games and all this fun stuff, but would you ever start a game store, or did this kind of make you even consider slightly like what that would be like?
So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of aware of this before, but being a game store owner isn't just playing games all day and somehow you make money.
Right.
It is all about selling products, getting people interested in games, and then making sure they buy some games at your store. So yeah, like I've talked with Brendan, my local store owner, about this a lot, and I certainly remember, his casual but effective way of getting sales. Like I think the last time I was a normal customer, like I've continued to buy there throughout.
Sure.
The last time I was a normal customer, I remember, walking into the store. Hey, how's it going? How you been doing? Hey, have you heard about Keystone yet? That's their name,
Keyforge?
right? Keyforge. There you go. Keyforge.
Keystone. Like,
you sure? Keyforge? You sure about that?
No.
Okay. Was the Garfield, Richard Garfield? Yeah.
Keyforge?
He made a game called probably Keyforge.
It's stupid. I literally own.
I definitely bought two. I bought two starter boxes.
You did? Okay.
Well, I mean, their starter decks are $10 each. I spent $10 on it.
Yeah. They're I still don't understand that game, but yeah. Keyforged.
But so a local store owner is encouraging people to check out games, and that helps them make sales and stay in business and grow and feed their families and all that. But in a way, what they're doing is they're like local influencers. They are picking the products to shine a spotlight on, and they're developing local communities for games. And part of that is them deciding what to focus on. And to a degree, that's what this convention was about.
Yeah.
It was game store owners going to this centralized place, I guess, in Reno, Nevada.
Somewhat central. Yeah, not at all centralized.
Meeting representatives, or in many cases, CEOs, lead designers of all these game stores or game companies, and figuring out what's coming out over the next year and how they're reorganizing their stock and all that. So you and I actually went to a couple of meetings that were like, should we care, or what if you want to start with this company? So we went to the we went to the Games Workshop.
If you've never heard of Games Workshop before, somehow in this
if you own a game store and you're like, hey, what is this Games Workshop thing? Should I carry Games Workshop products? And they had several sessions of this seminar, and there were multiple. We weren't the only people there. There were actual game store owners there for the purpose of having never really considered carrying Games Workshop products before, and getting sold on that. So Casey and I were some of the few people who were neither game developers nor retail store owners. Yeah. So we were constantly confused for one or the other. Normally, we were confused as retailers.
Yeah. Most of the time, just like, oh, where's your shop?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to buy from me? Like,
or
oh, no. Sorry.
We'd meet a rep from a game company, and they'd go on their spiel about how the next year releases were going to be really hot, and they had this deal coming up, and the rack for the new game was going to be really tight. And it was cardboard, but like reinforced cardboard. Right. And
they got like the plexi under the thing to make sure that it doesn't fall through. Like a whole things that we just didn't matter for us at all. And then of course we surprised them with like, oh no. Like we do YouTube, and they like most of them would be like, oh, okay. And then the conversation would shift. Like all of a sudden things lighten, right? Everything lighten up.
We're not selling these people anything.
Yeah, like you're just here to talk to me. That's fun.
No, we think your game's cool.
Yeah, like that was a lot of it. It's like, this is really cool. We're trying to learn things. Like, tell us more of how this process works. And then a little bit of like, if they'd worked with YouTubers before to even just get their product out there. Like,
sure.
Generally, if somebody were to send us something really awesome, we'd probably feature it in a video because it was just awesome.
Yeah.
Like tiny boats.
Right. Well, Yeah. We'll get to the tiny boats.
I know.
I want to get to our one of our seminars that we went to. Yeah.
Sure.
So we went to like the second, if you own a game store and you've never stocked Games Workshop before, but maybe you will. And it was fascinating. So for one thing, we got this here booklet which is essentially an ordering catalog for small stores or whatever size stores, I guess.
Really, whatever. If you want to stock Games Workshop, yeah.
Yeah. And so the whole convention was fascinating for us because there's a lot of like inside knowledge that's not really guarded, but just we weren't aware of before. Things
that were just nobody really talks about.
Yeah. So this book has all of the retailer prices. So retailers pay 55% of MSRP for Games Workshop products, at least in the US and Canada. And then, the 45% profit margin if they're selling for full price, which some are, some aren't.
Generally, it depends though.
Yeah. So that was just a piece of info that, had I asked the right person, I could have easily found out. But it's not really publicly floating around, I don't think.
Like I was always like vaguely aware of something like that because
I figured it was 50%, didn't really
something
know.
Like that, like 40 or 50%. But I knew for sure that you couldn't discount Games Workshop prices more than like 30% if they were brand new, that kind of thing. So I knew that. But the 55 or 50% just generally like. They just buy it for half of what they're selling it for.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, this book is like, okay, there's obviously a ton of Games Workshop products, but here are like the 50 best sellers, and you can buy this display rack that has the 50 best sellers. And if that goes well, you can buy a second rack, which has the next 50 best sellers.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool to see. And actually, I think I've been in a couple of stores where like I recognize that rack actually.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of nice to see like the way that Games Workshop put their stuff together. Sometimes we talk about them like not always in the best light and everything, but the way that this is presented, the way that this is put together is like definitely to help hobby shops, game stores succeed or to actually make money. Because, people that buy Games Workshop, then they're going to buy it. So, it was kind of cool to see that side of it. And like we talked to some of the people who were there and their only job, they work for Games Workshop, but their only job is to help people set up like displays in their stores and like make sure that they're succeeding. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. It was an interesting, it
was fun because, those guys came up to us, the Games Workshop, retail.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this some specific name, right? Like, retail helper, router, doohickey dudes.
Salesperson.
Yeah.
But they're coming up to us and like, here, sign up, sign up this form. If you fill out this form with your store info, you can win a free iPad.
Yeah, that was interesting. And Brent goes like, an iPad? And the dude was like, hey man, if you don't want it, I'll take it.
Several of the other game companies were doing like, raffles for here's $1,000 off of your next order of our product for your store.
Sure,
like that kind of thing.
An iPad though. To order more Games Workshop.
It's just the most vanilla of raffle prizes.
That's very true from the biggest company too.
Yeah. I mean, 10 years ago, it was the pink iPad or iPod mini, pink iPod mini.
Sure.
And now it's just like, iPad. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, Games Workshop could have had like all kinds of like weird statues for the store or like sweet banners for your store or
a sweet statue would have been cool.
Or
giving away a space.
Or win the rack of the 50 best selling products and see how it goes in your store. That would have been good too. But so that was just really interesting. And so we were like, no, we are not stores. We're not stores. We're just here to learn. And it was really interesting. Interesting, and we had a good time.
Yeah.
But no, we got to meet a lot of people that are reasonably well known in this smallish niche industry.
It feels smaller
medium
now. It feels much smaller now.
You think so? Yeah.
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 Here's a good example.
There's Alex Vallejo sitting behind his booth, like on his cell phone.
Yeah. Like smaller geographically speaking, yes. In that case specifically, just dude who made Vallejo Paints hanging out, or it's
like
not
the son of the dude.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
Okay.
There's some story behind that.
I need to enunciate. Maybe like the son of the guy who made Vallejo Paints.
Yeah, like somebody who's just hanging out, not talking to people. No, best example I can give is the company Turbo Dork.
Yes.
I have bought lots of TurboDork paints. I know a lot of people who have bought TurboDork paints. Do you know how many people work at TurboDork right now? 4 people.
That's new.
And that's new. The 2 people are new. The other 2, the original owners, obviously, the husband and wife team, and they're just like, we want to make cool paints. And they did.
Yeah.
Like that is insane.
Yeah.
Like you talk about small community, small hobby, like it's super niche and it just is. That's insane. I can't even say it. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel small.
Yeah. The owner, Greg, recognized me. That was cool.
Right. Yeah.
We hung out. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I've got to admit, I haven't actually used TurboDork paints. I've used a few of the Vallejo shifters or Vallejo color shift.
No, you were fine.
Okay.
Green Stuff World was the.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the.
But you've used some TurboDork paints for the really bright silver.
Yeah. Really? Just grab me a bottle right here. Boom. Yeah. So this is the seafood.
Two people were responsible for getting that into a store near you.
And it wasn't a store near me. That's even better.
That's crazy.
I have also ordered off their website, which is functional, and that's good.
Impressive. I know. Most impressive.
Dude, honestly, it seriously is. Like, the fact that 2 people basically put that together and just recently hired 2 other people is insane. But it just goes to show, like, these are small companies that we are all looking at. Like, some of them aren't, obviously, but, like, man, like you're spending money, you're spending your hobby dollars, right? And it's actually helping someone.
Okay.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And that experience made me much more interested in the TurboDork company because 1, they're a small company. 2, they're based in America, which as an American, I mean, yeah, that's cool.
That's always a plus, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
So why don't we do a little segment to make sure we're talking about painting bravely.
Painting bravely.
Let's talk. We're kind of introduced to 2 new paint lines, which I think are going to be talked about a lot at this convention. Oh
yeah. Okay, I was thinking TurboDork, and I was about to say that's not new. We've been talking about that. Right. Yeah, but there are 2 new ones, and I just remembered. So, well, one of them is mildly impressive. Was it WizKids? Yeah. Sure. They're prismatic paint lines for Dungeons and Dragons models of all sorts, like frameworks or, whatever else kind they have, kobolds and such. Mm-hmm. Basically, tiny pots of paint. What are they like?
They were 8 milliliters.
Yeah, 8 milliliters for $250. $225. Yeah. And I mean, it's Vallejo paint in there. Yeah. And that's good paint. Yeah. And hopefully, like the thought behind it, at least from our perspective, is if there's a pairing between WizKids and Vallejo, that we might actually be able to get Vallejo paints into game stores way more often because you can't ever find it.
Indeed. Yeah. Indeed. Vallejo is one of my favorite paint lines, but it's really hard to find. That's really Brendan does not stock it.
Because he can't get it. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. Yeah.
I mean, they're not made anywhere close to where we are, so that's part of it. It's a shipping thing or something. In Spain. So it makes it a little more difficult. So I'm not like
but if WizKids
is a big company
is heavily invested,
yes,
maybe they maybe they hire someone to go over to Spain, make sure Alex Vallejo is sending them their paints on schedule.
He's got it in his calendar on his phone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Check his iPad later.
So, it was really cool to see their little, basically cash register display. Like, their rack of paints, it sits right on top of a countertop. Yeah. It is not very big.
It's like 1.5 by 2, maybe. It's like it sits on the counter at your store, and you go, oh, man, like... Yeah, I need some of that, like, iced yellow from Vallejo, only it's called, zombie... skin or something dumb that we don't care about, but like it's the same paint, right? It's got those numbers on it apparently somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not real clear if they did a slight reformulation.
They might have.
Yeah, but I think a slight reformulation, definitely a name change. Put it in a tiny bottle.
The bottles are so stinking tiny.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like, eye drops you'd get if you have something wrong with your eye. But but like something expensive wrong.
Yeah.
For a week. Yeah.
Like a week. The idea apparently behind the smaller bottles is that, like, realistically as a D&D player, you're not going to be painting minis on the type of level that we are as like wargamers, right? So like you have a handful of models or you got like your hero characters, right? You don't need a 17 or 21 or 2 milliliter bottle of paint, 4, 8, then you're fine.
To be fair, 90% of the colors we use, we'd be fine if we had a 2 milliliter supply. For the rest of our lives. It's not a bad idea considering like your paint will probably go bad before you use it all.
Like, because you accidentally left the lid off or you bought Games Workshop.
I wouldn't be buying like black in 8 milliliters bottles. No. Or I wouldn't be buying the main color if you are an army painter on whatever you're painting up.
No, that would be bad.
But everything else might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I use some colors like very sparingly. Like it's a super bright orange, right? It's like, okay, I'm only highlighting the third step in an orange progression or something, and only with a brush lightly.
Yeah, no, exactly. So
I'm not going to use that much.
$2.25 is cheaper than all of the other brands of paint. Yeah. I mean, obviously you're getting less than half.
Yeah, how much is it per ounce?
Well, okay. The actual bottle, the price to get yourself a palette of 12 paints to go nuts on. And it also sounded like they were going to do more learn to paint kits, start painting kits, paint night activity sets.
Yeah.
Using those paints. And so
they put together model kits with some paints and go, here you go. Like you hang out at your store, learn to paint some stuff.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be okay paint if it's coming from Vallejo. I am curious to see how that pricing strategy goes. And yeah, any approach to get more people, especially like role-playing folks, into painting minis, good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, anything to get people to paint more models, like that's really the goal, right? For a lot of people, like we want to indoctrinate people into this hobby.
As we say, paint more minis.
Yes. Some people yell it.
Yeah, we don't yell. No, we don't yell. No, we don't yell. Okay, well, Casey, tell us about the other brand of paints we learned a little something about.
Okay, so the other brand of paints that we got, you probably already seen the video, honestly, because there's no reason that you wouldn't have if you're watching this. It's the Duncan Paints. Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy 2 thin coats. So there's I guess there's a little bit of a story behind this, because why wouldn't there be? So we're at GAMA, we're hanging out. We see that this very large distribution company just picked up Duncan Road paints. We're like, oh my goodness. We haven't heard about these in a while. They just kind of went silent, right? The Kickstarter was over. Everybody did their thing. I put money in. I got paints. And I'm like, it's been a minute, Haven't heard much about anything about this. And all of a sudden, like we find out at this thing that they've been picked up by a huge distributor, like that bought into this paint line, right? That helped develop this paint line, I believe.
Asmodee.
Yes.
I don't think they helped develop the paint line, but Asmodee. Yeah.
Whatever. They did some. They put the capital.
They put some money.
Yeah. To be able to be the ones
allegedly,
to. I don't know how it works. They did something.
Business.
Yeah. So they picked up this line, and now they're helping Duncan and Roger and team push the paint line
in Canada and America.
Yeah, in the Americas, basically.
The North Americas. But we'll see about other locations.
Oh, I'm sure they're getting there, right? Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, this is a multinational corporation that's like owned by Swedes, and plus Duncan probably still lives in the United Kingdom.
I would think so.
Yeah,
unless he moved.
We'll see. Business. Yeah, business.
Anyways, so they have a booth, as you do at GAMA. And we're like, okay, well, we go check out the booth. We were going to ask them questions about this Duncan Paints, right? We were like actually going to ask them. Turns out they had a rack of Duncan Paints set up. And they had some papers out. They had some like garbage, like somebody ran down to the corner store and bought a thing of brushes, and they threw them in like a pint glass they got at the bar. No joke. This is how they set this up. Like the booth was great, but they're like, oh, the paints, I guess people might want to try them, right? So they had some papers, the brushes, a little bit of water. And we're just like, we should probably paint something because why not?
I want to emphasize that Casey lives in Reno.
Yes.
And has access to a spray booth.
Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of formulated this plan. We were going to rush the Asmodee, whatever you want to call it, booth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were going to just sit our happy selves down.
Stand.
Whatever worked better. And we were going to paint minis. Now we did talk to them the day before. We didn't say really that we were going to do that. But they did give us like one of the Duncan dogs, I think it's Gizmo. I think that's his name.
Maybe.
Might be it. I don't know. Somebody will correct us. But there's the little dog that Duncan's painted up. But that was like a giveaway. They were just on, here's these models. So we got each one, and we went home after the convention that day. I put everything together and primed everything. I based everything. And then I got
in 2 pieces.
Yeah, the dog was in 2 pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
I brought a couple other models and basically got everything ready. And I brought all of my brushes. Like I brought my Squidmar brushes in my Miniac box. And I even brought my red grass wet palette and glass dry palette. Didn't end up using those, but we basically just walked up onto the booth and we're like, can we try these paints? You know, and they're like, oh, of course, you know.
And then we start pulling out supplies.
Yes, and then
and then I pull out my camera with my big lens.
Yeah, then Brent's like, he just busts out a camera, which you're not technically supposed to have without permission, but you know.
You were a communicating member of...
I was a communicating member of GAMA.
Yeah.
I've paid for that 2 years in a row. Thank you very much, GAMA. And then they charged me $100 to get in when I got there. Thank you.
So we cleared like 1 square foot of space on their booth platform.
Yeah, they had like this corner where they were putting all their paperwork and they kind of had the paints off to one side.
We moved their brochures away to make like 1 square foot. And if this were a hobby space rating system, this would be a 0.5.
Yeah, it was like,
not good.
We brought everything with us in a bag.
We did not have a chair.
No chairs. We stood for basically 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a while. It's a couple hours.
We just stood there and just went for it and started painting. Yeah. And like
there were like 5, 6, 7 Asmodee employees,
right,
representatives
coming up, like,
there.
Are you painting?
Yeah. And so I did my normal friendly thing of like, hey, how you doing? Oh, we're just checking out these paints.
Right.
And you know, so little bit of spoilers. We do like the paints, but I was like, yeah, we're just checking out the paints. These are great, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, these are good. And we do like them, but yeah, our original plan was just to have Brendan kind of run interference. Mm-hmm. One man with a dream of distracting all 7 Asmodee reps at the same time. While we got like 5, 6 minutes of footage,
like just enough to make some kind of guerrilla video of us. Like we ran in and we used half this paint, and we're gonna tell you exactly what it was like. Just the stupidest thing.
We were ready to make 2 publish 2 bad videos, essentially. Yeah.
Being like, we tried Duncan's paints.
Because I mean, like you were saying, we haven't heard a lot about this. So the Kickstarter and the Asmodee deal were both successful on the basis of Duncan's reputation, and he has an awesome reputation. So good on him. But nobody had actually tried the paints, so there was always a % chance that it was going to be a massive disappointment.
I mean, you never know, right?
It's possible.
You never know. Like, they could have... I mean, they did extremely well with that Kickstarter. Yeah. So, like, I believed in it, like, even more.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, they got the capital to, like, make this actually happen. And now with the rest of everything that's going on, like, even more, it's solidified that, like, okay, this is going to be a thing, and it's going to be in your store.
Right.
Like legitimately in your hobby shop. There's a very good chance that it will be right next to the Games Workshop rack.
Yeah, like during the hours that we were bogarting a little square foot of space, we were, you know, talking to people, and we probably witnessed like 100 game stores sign up for a rack of Duncan Paints. Yeah, just in our time there.
Like,
a lot of people.
We were standing there. We were giving them like kind of feedback on these paints right as we were painting, and then I started to hear that being incorporated into their pitch for like these game stores.
Once they figured out who we were.
Yeah, basically. They're just like, oh, you see these guys over here? Like, you know, they're...
One of the reps definitely knew who we were.
Yeah,
and
sure.
we had a good conversation with
But I thought it was very good of them just like slowly introducing these facts that we were like telling them. And it's not that they were untrue, but it was just like
smooth.
On the cusp. They're like, all of a sudden, they're like, we have keywords.
Good
this
coverage.
Is like actual feedback that we can give to these people who are asking these questions that we don't have technically the answers for. Yeah.
Works pretty well with one thin coat.
I mean, that's true. The two thin coats thing is ridiculous.
Terrible.
Absolutely
terrible
ridiculous.
Name.
It's a dumb name.
Yeah. So, honestly, my expectation was that the Kickstarter was going to go well. They were going to send out the paints. People were going to be generally satisfied, and then there's going to be like a small janky web store to like resupply the people who had bought in on the Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. That was my expectation.
I mean, that's fair. That's probably fair.
That was where I was going to put my money. But when we saw that Asmodee had acquired distribution rights, I was actually sitting next to Brendan in that seminar, and he just turns to me and he says, Asmodee is distributing a paint line. The store will now have another paint line.
Yeah.
Like just it was immediate from the point of view of the store owner, this giant game distributor who now owns the rights to basically all Euro games.
Yeah, well, like, what are some of the specific ones? Like Catan, Ticket to Ride,
Carcassonne, I think
that
Pandemic.
Sounds right. Pandemic. Like,
I mean, I like me some Citadels. You know,
sure.
You know
I mean, big games, right? It's not like a small deal. Yeah, that's the point. Like, these are things you've heard of and are in everywhere.
Right.
I can go get. I have half their, like, you know.
Right. So there, we talk about a lot of different paint brands, and half of them are small fish. Or
Turbo Dork.
Yeah, Turbo Dork.
Perfect example.
If Turbo Dork got a massive distribution deal,
all of a sudden,
if part of Asmodee's keynote speech was that they were picking up a new line of paints called Turbo Dork, I mean, actually, a surprising number of stores already carry that.
They do, but that's
like Scale 75 or something like that. Sure. You know, the instant colors. I did pay much attention because I knew not that many people were ever actually going to get instant colors in their hands. So
the funny thing, I didn't do the Kickstarter because my local store put up a poster saying we are getting instant colors. I don't think they ever got them.
Sure.
Or they sold out, probably, more likely.
Yeah.
I just didn't see them.
So hopefully we have indeed published some reviews on Duncan Paints. Hopefully you've watched them.
I don't see why we wouldn't have.
But yeah, the end of that story is we smoozed enough that they gave us basically the full range of paints at the end of the convention. Instead of like packing it up and then throwing it away, they gave
they stuffed it in a gallon freezer Ziploc bag that Brent had in his backpack.
I come prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
Tupperware for the beach and Ziplocs for stealing paint ranges.
And the big purse when you go to the all-you-can-eat buffet. Like
you go with extra Ziplocs. Oh, don't do that. That's a gross.
So yeah, we were going to make a 5-minute video, and then we each painted a pretty good figure there at the booth, and then we just had the whole range of paints. So Casey and I've been living at Casey's house for the last several days. We did a lot more painting, and we like these paints. They're good.
Yeah, they're actually good. Like, I guess we maybe
$5 for 15 milliliters, but they're good.
I mean, they're comparable really to most other paint ranges in like price wise. I guess I'm not like dissatisfied with the price, although
it's more than a lot of other things. It's less than Games Workshop.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm starting to think of them as like a thicker version of Pro Acryl. I don't know.
That's a good way to put it, actually. When they thin down, they definitely feel more like Pro Acryl. Like, they're pretty smooth. They blend really well together.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. I do like how thick they are right out the bottle. I think that's really cool. Because that's not normal, for anybody.
Yeah. So your local store is probably going to get these. You should buy them. And so we've just the two of us have been having fun because I think we have exclusive access to these.
We're the only people literally like in this moment recording this podcast, which is I don't know, it's now days after, like, that we released the video, so it's I don't know, we probably have. Like, we're the only people that have this paint. So suck it.
No, it's not how you do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was rude.
I disavow.
That was super rude.
Okay. So that was Duncan Paints. We got some painting talk in here, and now we can just talk about more games and minis.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I've got my favorite business cards out. So for a couple of days, I was just going around. I had a little business card holder, and so I was giving people business cards. I was getting business cards.
Oh yeah.
I was doing business.
100%. Yeah, we were doing the business.
For this podcast, I pulled out some of my favorite business cards. So we got through Turbo Dork.
Turbo Dork's good. They have a good logo, though. That really helps.
Yeah. Steamforged Games. They were there. We don't have a lot to say, but they were one of the companies that had kind of the most minis that were there, I'd say.
Flip that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ross. Yeah. So yeah, we sat down with Ross Thompson. He's the trade marketing manager a few times just to kind of talk. We talked about a couple of different games. I actually played a demo while Brent was sleeping in the hotel. Bard Song, which was pretty cool. Like, it had some fun stuff. It was like a little skirmish game. The models are pretty sweet. So yeah, I've got a lot of Steamforged stuff in my house, like all the Dark Souls stuff, and I got a lot of models. So that's the thing. Yeah, we talked to Hunter Shelburne from Steve Jackson.
Don't say his last name.
Why? It's on the website. It's in his email address. So
shout out to Hunter at Steve Jackson Games, because he was one of the companies that actually like recognized us immediately. That's true, yeah. And that's always fun. But, so we hung out with him for a little while, and
some good conversation there.
I think there are some minis at Steve Jackson Games, which I know there mostly makes Munchkin.
Yeah, there are some. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about that car game too, which sounded pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Car Wars, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Nailed it.
All right, we gotta keep going on this one.
The Army Painter has a unique card. It's like a hexagon.
Just like on the front of their paints.
Really? See? Didn't even realize.
Yeah, they got the little color swatch as a hexagon.
Yeah, I mean, it is now that you mentioned it, and I'm looking over behind me to see it.
Yeah, some of these companies had really good cards, by the way.
Yeah. I guess if you make playing cards in your games, like, you better have a cool like business card.
The company that makes Gloom, which is a game that has like transparent cards with like kind of like weird Victorian portraits on it.
Yeah.
That business card was exactly like you'd expect.
It was very cool.
And I don't have anything else to say about it, so it's not on my list of favorite business cards here. But
I have one in the other room.
No, it's not. It's not important.
No, it's not. None of this is actually important.
We're talking
about visual business cards.
Well, and what they represent.
Oh, that's a good point.
What they represent.
And we're giving away people's personal information.
Yes. All right. Why don't you pick the next business card, Casey?
I like that Asmodee card.
Yeah. Okay. We hung out with this guy at Asmodee, and he's responsible for giving us some paints, so we're not going to out him.
Pretty much, yeah. That's how that's going.
I met the CEO at COcast, which is that plastic injection molding company that Titanforge has been using, Creature Caster has been using, Reaper is now using, and actually we got to meet the guys at Titanforge. So I had done 1.5 videos with Titanforge before. Maybe 2. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So I'd been in like email contact and like Discord contact with the team at Titanforge for 1.5 years now. And I walked by the booth. It was like, oh, Titanforge is here. And then a couple of those guys just like pointed at me because at least one of them had like sculpted my face on a mini. That's
Brent's face is on a Titanforge
holding 2 cats and running off into the distance away from some sort of terrible creatures. Got a vamp while Casey is finding it. There he is.
Oh, I have 2 of them literally right behind me.
It is fun to be together.
That's like, how can you just turn around instead of having to show the camera or have a reaction that doesn't make any sense for an audio podcast? Obviously, I can just tell you that I'm showing Brent a figure of himself. I just pulled it from like
so
half
that's
foot
good
behind me.
Yeah. So this is, it's an injection molding technique that is kind of good for small to medium-sized companies. And I think it's going to be a big deal in the coming years. I think so.
I think for a lot of the like expected cheap lines, like, you know, you get the like real rubbery kind of stuff. This is like the next step up for probably the same or cheaper for them.
Yeah.
That's really good news.
So we got a couple of samples from Titanforge of CeoCast models. And, you know, they have some of the problems that you'd expect like soft plastic cast minis to have. Mm-hmm. Like they have mold lines that can't be scraped because the plastic is too soft.
Yeah, it's like,
so you have to like slice the mold line, which is a little more hit or miss.
You'll damage the model.
Yeah. So I wasn't able to clean up the couple of sample models that I had very well, but still, they're cool models.
For
they were
what it is, though. Like the paintability, I guess, is really what you'd be looking at. Like if you're buying models previous to this stuff and painting them, it's kind of like a little derpy. Yeah. Like if you've ever touched WizKids like HeroClix, it's not good.
No,
it's not good.
This is better than that,
and this is way better than that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and in theory, they are coming out with a harder injectable plastic soon that will be possible to scrape mold lines, maybe. And it also sounds like all of the various users, the mini making companies that use the CeoCast technique, are figuring out how to make their molds better. Mm-hmm. And so something to keep an eye on. I think this is going to be important. But anyway, I have now painted my first CeoCast mini, and I'll probably be painting some more in the future. So
might as well.
Yep.
Right. They also had printed. They printed some.
Yeah, Titanforge had like a little sample box that I think they gave to Brendan. And most of the sample box was actually their sculpts that they had 3D printed and then put in the sample box to give out to vendors.
That's cool.
And so, you know, Casey just painted Crocobot, Gatorbot.
Space Gator. Whatever.
We forgot his name. He has a cool name. Does
he really? See, I wish I had known that before.
Oh, hold on. I got a piece of paper.
An entire video about it and then just being
Crocobot.
Sure.
It's Crocobot. Crocobot from Grid Wars Age of Cyberpunk.
I want to play Grid Wars.
That's not a very good name. Age of Cyberpunk. That's not a very good
Cyberpunk
name. I mean, it's descriptive.
Crocodiles? That sounds cool.
Descriptive, for sure.
I wouldn't knock that.
Yeah. Okay, that was Titanforge. We got CeoCast. We got Titanforge. Raybox Games, who makes the grid terrain that I hadn't heard of before, is making a game called Escape from Stalingrad Z. And we painted some zombies and some kind of World War II figures from that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And all right, we got two real winners here. We're down to two business cards. Casey, what are we talking about?
I'm gonna start with Parabellum. I like Parabellum.
All right.
Okay, so if you haven't heard of Parabellum before, they are the company that makes the Conquest line of miniatures, and it's a tabletop game. I've seen like a handful of things from this, and I've always just not really understood what it was. Like, I knew it was models, but their packaging was super complicated. Like, it didn't make any sense.
It was just like a black box.
It was a black box. Yeah, exactly. And it was like, buy this to do a thing or something. And it didn't really have many instructions. Well, it turns out that with a little bit of help from Asmodee and some new packaging, like, they have turned it around, at least in my opinion, from what my experience was. But they are looking pretty sweet.
Yeah, so this is a war game. Conquest, Age of something, is a war game, and it looks like it's kind of rectangles that bash up against each other.
It's kind of the rank and flanks type of a game. Smaller model count, I'm pretty sure.
Well, the actual models are bigger, so I don't know what the official scale is, but they're like 35 millimeter, 40 millimeter scale. They
look rad.
They're big and they look good. So they got awesome dwarves, awesome orcs. They got some just kind of feudal humies.
Yeah, which is pretty cool to see. Like if you're missing your Warhammer Fantasies kind of stuff, like they have some really cool looking stuff. Yeah. But like they have a really cool like art aesthetic, like direction that they're going.
The models are beautiful.
They're insane. They showed us some of their plastic sprues. like they're legit as good as Games Workshop ever has been.
Yes.
They're insane.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Like Conquest, I need to get my act together and paint some Conquest minis.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked to them for quite a while about all that. Asked them a bunch of questions. Like I definitely had questions about the specifics of their packaging and marketing. Like, what do I even do? Because I don't know what to do. And they're like, we've had that problem like before and we fixed it.
They had some better starter sets and also their packaging. One side of the box has concept art on it and like beautiful concept artwork. And the other side of the box had very well painted miniatures representing what was in the box. So I thought that was
it was a good choice.
Good step in the right direction.
It was a good choice. I thought it was cool too that they, they talked to us like, they're there to talk to pretty much everybody that talks to them at the convention. But they went down the next day after the whole thing was over to the local game store that I go to. That's what I meant to say. And they did like a whole demo. They like brought out Conquest stuff. They showed people how to play. They talked to them, answered questions, trying to get people in to show that there's a new direction going on. Yeah. I know that I know a few people are like way into Conquest. And I don't even know if they could have explained it to me like a year ago, but like I think I get it. I think I'm starting to get it.
It's a game and it has awesome models. Right, that's all I ever really need to know. But
the awesome models thing, like the fact that they are such high quality, is pretty incredible. I am looking forward to buying some to paint and play with.
Boom.
Yes.
All right. And then
we got tiny boats.
Yeah, so we met Emiliano at Warlord Games. They had a booth, and Warlord Games has Napoleonics. It's the one that makes that World War II game, which is called Bolt Action.
Yes.
And the Conflict 47.
Which looks so cool.
Yeah.
They
have like a Central American... was it Incans and Mayans and stuff, like a bunch of models like that. Spiritual creatures.
Yeah, like each faction had its own.
They had the Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah.
Anyway, Warlord has an absolutely massive range of just games game systems.
Yeah.
While we were at the booth, we got hooked up. I mean, all these companies were giving freebies to especially retailers, but sometimes us YouTubers were able to work a little deal. Yeah.
I mean, they knew that we did YouTube stuff, and they're just like, we want to give you all these things.
Shout out to Emiliano, who seemed like a friendly guy, and also did seem to recognize the value of both good retailers and YouTubers. So he didn't have to try very hard, but he was able to put some tiny ships from the Napoleonic Wars into my hands. So I think I've mentioned it before, but one of the things I do when I hobby is I listen to audiobooks. And I've been on a kick for the last year plus of Napoleonic naval combat. So I've cranked through the Hornblower series. I just finished the Dewey Lambden, Alan Lurie series. In the past, I've listened to the Patrick O'Brien novels, and the setting. I think it's a really cool setting.
You seen that Russell Crowe movie?
I've seen that Russell Crowe movie. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good movie. And I saw the making of and everything. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Speaking of that Russell Crowe movie, Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World, the starter set for this Black Seas game from Warlord is called Master and Commander.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. I think they're trying to hit on the... so you never heard of boat combat before, right? But you've seen this Russell Crowe movie.
Yeah. You thought it was going to be like Gladiator, but it really wasn't.
No, violently underrated though. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's a better movie than Gladiator.
Yeah, I mean, the Gladiator is a good movie, but it's not perfect. A lot of people seem to think it's like perfect.
Oh.
Especially the Academy in 2000. I don't get it.
So we got this Master and Commander. We got 3 plastic frigates, 6 plastic brigs. We got a rule book, which I am tempted to actually read. Casey was watching the on tabletop video explaining how to play this game.
It looks pretty straightforward, actually. It shouldn't be that hard. We were planning on playing a game like today or tonight, so we're going to figure that out.
Casey and I each painted a frigate and 2 brigs, and your son painted a brig in a very really nice looking like ghost theme.
Ghostly undersea theme that's all like ivory and green. Like it's weirdly fitting.
Incredible. Pale sand and green, and it looks like it's either a ghost ship or it's on the bottom of the sea covered in moss.
Yeah, and I was actually going to put some moss on it and then try and just do the rest of them like that, because we got a whole set of 3 more and we're going to paint them up all
outstanding
undersea. So.
Outstanding. I don't know. These look so cool, and this is a start of a very long path. This is a path that leads to ships and bottles.
I was just about to say
it leads to tweezers in both hands. It leads to
100%. A year from now,
tiny sailing ships.
I'm gonna put money on it.
Do you know how many cords and cables and ropes and stays and halyards are on this thing? Do you have any idea?
Brent's gonna have jars. They're not going to be piss bottle jars. They're going to be ships and boat jars. And then we're going to have a conversation.
This week on Painting Bravely, I was able to erect the main mast and the top gallant.
Got the tweezers in there. I just pulled just right. Popped right up. That's right. We have a problem.
So yeah, no, these are relatively simple models. So, 2 halves of the boat, a bottom, and then 3 masts, a couple of prows, booms, you might call them. I don't know. Yeah.
Ports and
relatively simple models, but they're hinting at incredibly complex vessels.
It's deep.
Yeah.
With all them strings and paper flags.
The sailing vessels of the 18th and early 19th century were just mind-boggling.
Right.
Yeah.
Underrated, that Russell Crowe.
Underrated. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember when Gladiator won the Oscar. I was actually very excited that year. I wasn't that old. I don't even know how old I was, like 13 or something.
Yeah.
14, 15? I don't know. I watched a lot of Gladiator.
So we also got some black powder epic minis, which are these tiny little line infantry for Napoleonic Wars.
10 millimeter, like rank and file. That's the whole idea. Push them around. They're super teeny tiny and they're fun. But we used them all to test all the Duncan paints. We painted them all different colors and stuff. Really cool though.
We just use these as test swatches for the Duncan paints.
Yeah, but we could still use them to play. They are painted now.
They were giving these out free to everyone, and most of them just threw them in the trash probably. But we painted them and put them in our silly videos.
We should have actually. Now that you say that,
you should rescue these. Them. We should have gone through the trash and gotten more.
That's what exactly I'm trying to say. We should have gone to the trash, in that area, and just
dumpster dive, game conventions.
Do you want these Napoleonic warfare tiny 10 millimeter models? And people would be like, no, I don't want these. And we would have had...
we'd be like, get them.
We would have amassed a much larger army if we had thought about it hard enough. That's stupid. I feel stupid.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right.
Next time. Next year. Yeah, next year. Right. That's going to happen.
Right. So, there's the elephant in the room that we haven't talked about yet.
I thought we did.
Well, we're going to get there. My badge at the GAMA convention said retailer on it. Mm-hmm. So my friend Brendan, who owns Crossroad Games, he said, no. I mean, you go to this event, you can be an exhibitor, you can be, I don't know what all of them are. But retailer's the best one.
Yeah.
Retailer's the best one.
You get all the free stuff.
Yeah. So I go and pick up my convention packet. And the first thing I find is just $100 gift card to the hotel, like the hotel bars and everything. Was that in your packet?
No.
What did you describe your packet?
I got a bag, and it had a booklet in it about the convention.
Didn't you have to pay an extra $100?
Thanks for letting me remember that. Yes, I did have to pay an extra $100. So normally GAMA, it's a private organization. You have to apply for, sign up for, and pay money. It's like a dues type of a thing. Because you're part of an organization. It's like a trade organization. Not like a union, but kind of in the same vein, right? But essentially, I paid for the last 2 years. I've been a member. And this year it's like, oh, cool. GAMA's actually happening. And I live here. And I signed up, I thought it was all good to go because I had a receipt that was all oh, you've already paid for blah blah blah, all this stuff. And I get there and there's oh no, that was your membership for this specific type of membership that you have, which is a whole new system that they built this year. And it turns out that doesn't count.
I bought him some beer and all you can eat sushi.
Yeah, it worked out.
It worked out. It worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, I even got to order all the sushi.
I felt bad. Also, retailers got free lunch every day.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I just turned my badge around.
Yeah, turned the badge around upside down. Yeah.
They had leftovers. They were throwing it away anyways. Thank you.
By the third day, they did have a sign that said,
yes,
one box only, please, underline.
That was 100% because of you.
Or you, who was taking boxes.
I took one box,
okay,
and I ate it. Brent took boxes back to his hotel room.
And I ate it.
But more than one box, okay? Let's just be clear here. Yeah, they definitely put a sign up. They're like, please stop taking our boxes. But like, there were literally like hundreds left over at the end, so I don't feel bad.
Acquire lunch and snacks bravely.
Yes, snacks bravely.
Let's see. We took some pictures next to some kobolds. We met some cool people,
like life-size
and
kobolds,
now we've just been recuperating and making a silly review video, Duncan's Paints, and we're about to go to Adepticon.
Oh my god, I'm so tired.
I have no idea what's happening there, but
I don't care. I'm gonna.
Well, we got a king size bed.
That's cool. It's not weird.
No,
don't worry about it.
If I was just typed a little bit faster, we could have a better room.
Adepticon's rough. Although, having
seems like a lot of people are going to be there.
Means that we can play full-on war games. Like, we can play Warhammer because now we have
on the bed
table. Yes, we have a table for it.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, it's perfect size.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna tell our dear listeners today? I
guess so. We hung out with Uncle Adam for a while. That was fun.
Almost forgot.
We went and had sushi with him.
Yeah. You got to see Uncle Adam. He was actually presenting. He was at the Game 4 booth.
Yes.
For
that sweet
the app to meet people after the pandemic is over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
But also his company is using the Game 4 brand to develop apps for other game companies.
So, really cool though.
So yeah, that was fun hanging out with him and his business boss Matt. And
I didn't.
I hung out with his good.
Yeah, no,
it's good. He's good.
It's fine. I just didn't know what they're,
I was gonna call him business partner, but I think he's actually his boss. So
either way,
yeah, I don't know. It was good. So we went to an industry convention that not really any other YouTubers were at.
No one, except for
pretended to be a retailer when it suited my needs.
That's very true.
Learned a lot that way, honestly.
Brent's asking questions that then they're just giving us answers like, oh yes, for my store, good sir, would you please tell me all this information? Yes.
Now, if I had filled out that piece of paper, I might have won a free iPad from Games Workshop. And how many people can say that,
See, we didn't.
But I would have needed to forge an address and a business license number for my
an EIN number? It's basically just your social, man. They wouldn't have been able to find you. It's fine.
Don't worry about it. Digits.
Yeah, just one. And be like, oh, I screwed that up. Sorry. I'll get it to you later. Thanks for my iPad.
He got a free hat?
I did, although Brendan just gave it to me because he didn't want it.
Yeah, I got one of those things you stick on the back of your cell phone case. It's
the pop things, yeah.
Pop rock.
It has a picture on it.
Yeah.
Pop socket.
We got a card box.
Yeah, a card box that is green.
Yep.
That's fun.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, we'll see you at Adepticon. I should have ended that differently.
We'll see you at Adepticon? Is that how you're signing out?
No.
Oh.
So that's why I was saying I screwed that up because I don't have a script in front of me, and normally I do.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely, the podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, please
like and subscribe.
Share and subscribe.
Leave a review
on iTunes because that helps, honestly. And
also,
we got some weird reviews on iTunes.
Spotify.
We're on Spotify.
Wherever you listen to podcasts.
We are on everything.
And I think we appreciate you.
We do appreciate you. And we thank you for listening.
And we're sorry.
And we will talk to you on the next Kobold Talk.
Hope that recorded.
What a train wreck.
That was a good episode.
That was very good.